Boy, it's another bright and warm beacon, isn't it, boys?
Beacon? Oh.
A beacend, right? It's the end of the beak. It's Batter Day and Bun Day.
You know what's funny is
We're
these are
recording
already
our
better.
podcast.
Shut up.
These are already better puns than what's in the movie. I
What
think.
movie? Are we talking about a boovie today?
Okay, I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't stop doing
You're gonna
this.
bucking bill me?
I'm going to bucking bill you.
These
Yes.
aren't even B puns at this
Wow.
point.
You're just putting the letter B in front of everything.
I thought you were my friend, Bosch. I thought you were my friend, BJ.
I am bot your brand, Brian.
But do we like Baz?
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Welcome to the burst of all possible birds. No, hold on. How far can we extend this bit until it dies? I'm the worst of all possible Joshes.
I'm the worst of all possible BJs. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
And I'm the
brother.
burst of all possible Brians. It starts with a B
It's
already.
starting. It starts with us.
Vibes.
We are back with yet another week of case studies in the pop culture of a dying empire. Last week, we of course had Memoria on to talk about Shrek, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do next.
Yeah, how do you follow up Breck?
Shut up!
With Kurt Weill?
We seriously debated this for I think like 15, 20 minutes until we finally
Chairs
all
were thrown.
came to consensus that it's time for us to talk about B-movie.
This is the thing that we've been building towards since our very first episode.
That's right, Brian?
As
Kind
we've
of?
said every time, we can't get to B-movie yet. We have to wait until a couple months after we have hit our 5th anniversary.
That's right.
And 1 month and change since we hit the 250th episode.
Yes.
I found it a bit disconcerting, AJ, how many of the runners in this movie are also runners that you have used on our show.
Yeah.
And I find it so fucking upsetting that you were setting up a 5-year-long brick joke to drop with this episode.
A lot of it, honestly, coincidental. Ray Liotta, I had completely forgotten, was from B-Movie.
You sure
but-
about that?
Yeah, no,
I don't
absolutely.
believe this for one second, BJ.
No, that was genuinely a coincidence. I had forgotten that Ray Liotta was a major linchpin in the plot of B-Movie.
A bench pin, if you will.
You're a bench pin.
I very explicitly laid out B-Movie as a runner in our musical episodes as being the lost musical that Stephen Sondheim was working on before
What's the
he
Buzz,
passed.
right.
What's the
Yeah.
Buzz, yes.
Yeah.
But everything else, I was also disconcerted rewatching it about like how much it just seeped into my brain. And I think it was just because for a while, B-Movie dominated the internet. Vanity Fair claimed that it won 2016, making it the only thing that won in 2016.
How many times have you seen B-movie, AJ?
In its entirety?
Yes.
Once.
Really?
Yes,
Like,
I-
just now was
Yes,
the first
just
time you
now
saw
for
it in
this.
its entirety.
I'd watch
Okay.
it in parts. It was on in the background of parties every once in a while.
What
and of
parties
course,
were you going
What
to?
in the fucking Christ?
the fun ones.
Is this
What
what
the fuck
NYU
happens
kids
in
do?
New York, man?
Do NYU kids be like, oh, I'm going to put on the B movie, but it's going to be
Yeah,
ironic.
NYU, more like BYU.
I'm
Got
gonna be,
'em.
I'm
Got 'em.
gonna
B.
be
Brigham Young.
BYU. Yes. This movie is about Mormons. Actually, it's not. It is about a certain religious group in a way that I was very surprised about, but it was not about Mormons. No, I just feel like I was going to the cool
Oh my God!
parties, and you all
Would they
weren't
call
going to
if
the
bees
parties.
were Mormons? Would they call it the bee existence?
Who are these bees coming down?
Who are these Bildren bumming bound?
Batterdays Warrior.
Brian, when were you watching B-Movie?
When were I watching B movie? I were watching B movie yesterday because you made me do it for my job. I remember when B movie was coming out because
Right.
I used to go see movies a lot in high school because
Right.
going to the theater in Gallup, New Mexico, or as I like to call it, Ballup, New Mexico.
Malibu, Mexico, even.
No, I don't say it like that.
Oh, okay.
Did
I
you
do.
hear me say it like that?
No.
I didn't say it like
Well,
that.
Forgive me for thinking you might want to add a little bit of flair to your
A
day.
little
Yeah,
buzz.
well,
to
that's
it.
what you think flair is because you're from Michigan. So I remember seeing endless hype for a movie that I had no desire to see whatsoever. It was like Jerry Seinfeld is the Bee.
Yeah,
in
they
a movie
marketed the
that's just
fuck
called
out of this thing.
B movie. And I didn't even register the pun in B movie. It's just
Right.
like, oh, you forgot to title it And here we are. What are you?
Right.
Australian video game developer House. And I just remember like going and seeing, for instance, Shrek the Third that year.
Sure.
DreamWorks actually had quite a few movies coming out that year. Transformers was also that year.
That was
People forget
DreamWorks?
that that's DreamWorks. Yeah, that was DreamWorks. DreamWorks at this point had also just been bought by Paramount like the year or two before.
I thought it was
that.
Universal.
Oh.
No, it was Universal. But they had just been bought by Paramount.
Oh.
So DreamWorks has changed hands a few times over the years. And I just remember seeing the cardboard standee for B movie with B Jerry Seinfeld. And I was like, well, I saw Shark Tale. I'm not making that mistake again.
Right.
I did make that mistake again because I saw Robots. I mean, that was Blue Sky, but it's basically also a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I hate Seinfeld. I don't like the show as a teenager. And I don't like the man. Not for any moral
I love
reasons.
him. I think he's great.
Like, I didn't know anything about his personal life. I just thought, like, I don't think this man has ever once made me laugh. So I didn't see it. And 10 years later, it became an internet meme.
Do you find Seinfeld funny now, the TV show? Brian, you said when you were a teenager you didn't like it.
Not at all?
No, I gave it a shot because I really like Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I was like, okay, here we go. And at first I was like, maybe I'd like this episode if it wasn't for Jerry Seinfeld being here. But
it
no,
is
something about it
Jerry
just doesn't.
specifically that gets you.
It is Jerry specifically, but it's not only Jerry. I think the fact that it's a multi-camera show with a live audience, for that style of humor, it doesn't work as nicely as it does on something like Curb. It's just not quite my thing. I can understand that there's a lot of skill on display and a lot of creativity, like an episode where they're just waiting for a table the whole time. I do like the plot beats that are then, I think, just done better in Curb, like the fact that they're just horrible. And they're always sort of faced with their most horrible characteristic at the end of the episode, that sort of like Greek structure. But like,
Or Always Sunny does that really well too.
right.
Obviously.
I like all of these other shows that definitely owe something to Seinfeld and to Steve Bannon, who makes money off of Seinfeld reruns. But yeah, it's just not for me. And it certainly was not for me when I was a teenager.
My exposure to Seinfeld has just been seeing an episode here and there. I think for me, it's always something that I've appreciated on a craft level more than I've actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I also think it's very funny that Pix 11 still runs ads for like the linear time slot that they show Seinfeld reruns on the New York City subway for some reason.
It's very popular.
Yeah.
Older people watch TV. They do.
Yeah. It is. It's for the olds. That's who this is for.
Yeah.
It's for the olds. But weirdly, B movie, not for the olds. This is a children's movie. This is
I don't
for
think it's
actual
for
children.
anyone.
I think
it's
a
for
film
Jerry
made for no one.
Seinfeld, and
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
it's
for
not
Jerry
even
Seinfeld.
for him, because I think the whole time he's doing it, and I think the Pop-Tarts movie is the same way, is Jerry Seinfeld is like, wouldn't it be ridiculous if I made a movie about this?
Right.
Isn't it crazy that a movie is doing this thing right now? And it's like, there's nothing that crazy about making a cartoon about bees. It's a cartoon. You can make it about anything.
The first two trailers weren't cartoons at all. It was live action of him in a bee suit.
Right. And I imagine, usually a trailer, you're cutting together stuff that exists in your movie. When you're filming all of this new stuff with big names, Chris Rock is in there and Susie Izzard. These trailers that are all done in live action with these huge set pieces and everything are a significant part of the budget, because otherwise I don't really know where that budget went for this film.
And it was profitable. That's the thing about B movie. It did recoup and then some. It wasn't a smash hit in the way that like Shrek 3 was.
Yeah,
but it did all right.
Domestically, it wasn't really, it barely got over the line, but then global release, it made almost 300 million.
126 million domestically against a $150 million budget. So it didn't. Wait, 150? How the fuck did this movie cost $150 million?
Well, because they made so many versions of it.
This movie doesn't feel like it even had a second draft. Hearing this news is
actually,
insane
the
to me.
problem was the exact opposite. It had
many drafts.
way too many drafts. And so what we get is this horrible Frankenstein monster of a movie where it has three distinct
Actually,
parts.
Frankenstein is the monster?
That's what he said. That's what he said.
What I said.
That's what he said.
What do you mean?
He said it's a
I
horrible
said Frankenstein is the monster.
No, he said it's a horrible Frankenstein monster. Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. You should have said he's a horrible Frankenstein's monster.
I did
No,
say
it's
that.
supposed to be he's a horrible Frankenstein's doctor.
This movie is a horrible Frankenstein's doctor.
Frankenstein.
That has been,
Thank you.
that dabbles with dead things, namely this script, and stitches them all together to make this horrific monster of a film that feels so
This
disconnected.
horrific Frankenstein of a film.
Shut up!
His
Shut the fuck up!
I'm gonna revive Mary Shelley just to beat the shit out of you. But
Oh, she's a real Frankenstein's doctor's author.
she is. She is. This movie is actually really undone by Jerry Seinfeld's addiction to logic. Like, he does not fundamentally work for me as an entertainer in the cartoon space because he's not willing to be zany enough. His whole thing is bringing things down to earth.
I think you're right, because so much of this movie is again saying, look at how ridiculous this is. A bee is talking. A bee is driving a car. Patrick Warburton has a magazine. Anything is possible in a movie. We immediately accept the situation that you're giving us. Like, yeah, I don't care that Patrick Warburton would never hold a magazine in real life because I believe that it's happening right in front of my eyes.
This ends up leading to these situations where even the internal logic of the thing itself doesn't track. And I think that's also why the thing that people associate with B-movie, of course, is memes and meme culture, because they finally make this film as bizarre and inscrutable in a funny way as it ought to be.
I actually think if Seinfeld was going for the "isn't this ridiculous that bees can talk" movie, it would have been more successful if he had just stayed in the bee costume. If they have done a live action version with everyone in mascot outfits, I don't think it would be a significantly better film, but it would, I think, adhere closer to his creative vision, such as it is.
God,
but let's
yes.
talk about Jerry Seinfeld. Let's talk
do
about
it.
the man behind this movie.
Let's talk about Jerome here.
Yeah, he's a deeply normal man.
Very normal.
He was born in Brooklyn, but he grows up in Massapequa. And at the age of 16, he goes to Israel. He graduates CUNY in 1976, and he immediately starts doing open mics around the city. And this leads to him getting a lot of appearances on talk shows, right? He appears on Carson. He's on Letterman. In these early talk show appearances, he's got this sort of gee whiz energy about him, which I would argue would have been so much better for the protagonist of B-movie had he still any of that left inside of him. But this is mostly beaten out of him over years of just becoming beaten out of him.
I haven't really seen any of his super early work. Is it good?
It's about the same.
Okay.
Like his first appearance on Carson, he talks about the weather people not telling him what the weather is immediately. And well, and this sort of gets into his like signature thing, right? Everyone would always say, "What's the deal with?" And you know that, and go from there.
What's the deal, George?
Yeah, and what's fascinating to me about it is
Sorry, that was me playing a clip from Seinfeld off of the soundboard.
Yeah, no, I know.
Kramer, what's the deal? You're violating a social norm, Elaine.
No, Norm is Cheers.
You're violating a social Elaine, Norm.
There it is. Thank you.
They're saying I violated the nap, Jerry.
You can't violate the nap. There's too much aggression in you.
I'm so glad we waited 5 years to do this episode. So this first stand-up special that he does after doing this whole gauntlet in the 80s of just appearing on talk shows time after time after time, he doesn't actually get his first hour until 1987, which he only gets because he appears on a Rodney Dangerfield compilation. Like there's this show that Dangerfield used to host where he would bring on different stand-ups that he thought were like going
This is
somewhere.
a lot of like how the 80s worked. The 80s was the comedy boom. I mean, so many people could build up full, well-paid careers without even being on TV. And then, of course, you work your way up to like something that's hosted by Dangerfield, by Red Fox, and then maybe you get like a nascent like HBO or Bravo or Showtime special, and then maybe you can parlay that into a sitcom.
One of the things he does on that Dangerfield set is he talks about if there's a hair in your shower that's always just a little bit above where you are and you have no idea how it got there, and the whole negotiation of just having to get that thing down, like he does like 4 minutes on this hair in the shower, and the audience is losing their minds over it because finally someone had the courage to say it. He is obsessed with two things: stand-up comedy and bits that he thinks are funny that he spends an exorbitant amount of money on, namely B-movie. But let's talk about the show. Let's talk about Seinfeld the show. It's created in 1988 with Larry David. It runs for 9 seasons. The puffy shirt from that show is in the Smithsonian. As Brian said, it is a huge, huge hit and a huge moneymaker specifically for Jerry Seinfeld.
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, and Steve Bannon. Yes. By the end of the Seinfeld run, Seinfeld was making $1 million an episode. where many of his cohorts were making around $650,000, depending on your source.
No, that one's Jerry Seinfeld.
My opinion of Seinfeld, I think that it's a show that succeeds in spite of its star, not because of, but it does give Jerry Seinfeld a blank check to do whatever he wants to do for the rest of his life, which is mostly doing bits and dating teenagers.
That's right. That's right. When he is 39 years old, this is in, I don't know, 1990, whatever. He runs across a 17-year-old high school senior named Shoshana Lonstein in Central Park. And he's like, hey, you seem cool. Want to hang out? And they end up dating for 4 years.
We've all wanted to live out the plot of Woody Allen's Manhattan.
I mean, I haven't.
But there is a certain type of guy who does. Who looked at Manhattan and was like, yeah, that's me,
a
man.
narcissist.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up, Josh, you talked about how you're not familiar with Seinfeld's early work. He actually did a special a few years ago called Jerry Before Seinfeld, like Coco before Chanel, I know. And it was him taking all of his old bits and doing them again as an old man.
That's something that only a narcissist would do.
Yeah, that's something most stand-up comedians would be like, I don't know, man.
No, not if you're somebody who like cares about the craft, because you realize that the majority of those jokes will be well past their sell-by date.
And I think there is value in maybe publishing those. Like Sondheim did that with his Juvenilia.
Sure. Yeah, he talked about he wasn't going to rewrite Saturday Night, his first musical, which never got produced because the producer died. He said, like, those are my baby pictures, so you don't retouch your baby pictures.
So I think, like, for any fledgling stand-up comedian, absolutely, that would be invaluable to read, to be like, you know, how do you start out and then how do you get better? Especially if Seinfeld had then written in the margins, like, this is bullshit. I can't believe I fucking wrote this. I would never stand by this today. But to perform them for a paying audience is unhinged.
And film it.
And film it. So after Seinfeld, post Seinfeld, what's Jerry to do? Well, he goes right back to doing stand-up. He calls doing the sitcom his hobby, and now he can get back to his real work, which
this is his vocation. This is his life's work.
His true calling. He even makes a documentary about it in 2002 called Comedian, which is
shut the fuck up.
Shut up,
dude.
But it's him like going to clubs, and it shows him bombing. And this is all well and good if he had decided to stay in stand-up in his lane. But unfortunately, he attends a dinner party at Steven Spielberg's place in the Hamptons in 2003, where, according to Seinfeld, when Spielberg asked him what he's working on now, he jokingly says, a bee movie. It's about bees.
Double
like
meaning.
Spielberg went, I like that, and calls Katzenberg that night. The next morning, B movie is greenlit. This thing is immediately off to the races. Now, obviously, you hear the dinner party is in 2003. B movie comes out in November 2007. That seems like a long time to gestate a movie about bees.
Well, if you want to make it good.
You know what? That's true. But most of this is because Seinfeld decides to go all in on the project. He's spending a week in LA per month normally, but that's not enough time to like really be hands-on. So they install this very fancy telecommunication system in Seinfeld's home in New York so that he can be on calls with the studio in LA for 8 hours a day.
This is like when Stephen King agreed to let Kubrick do The Shining, and Kubrick would just like call him up at 3 a.m. and be like, do you believe in God?
What's the deal with God?
This is what has always shocked me, because you have made these B movie jokes for a long time, and we were like, shut the fuck up, AJ.
Yes.
I hate you. Go home.
Bo-boom.
Bo-boom. Bo-boom. I bait you, BJ. Bo. And you're like, no, you don't understand. This was a passion project for him. He really believed in this movie.
I also thought that you were fucking around when you would talk about B movie and be like, this is the thing that Jerry Seinfeld, he loved it so much. I really assumed that this is your typical Italian bombast.
Yeah, because I assumed he just starred in it, like Mike Myers starred in Shrek.
Same.
And he didn't write, that wasn't a Mike Myers project.
No.
Like Austin Powers.
Cat in the Hat.
Or Cat in the Hat, or The Love Guru. It was like thing that Mike Myers was doing. And in fact, you can see Mike Myers do the Barbara Walters interview as Shrek, and he's like ad-libbing, and he's saying shit that Shrek would never say.
Oh, it's so fucking bizarre. That clip that you posted where he's like, hey, Halle Berry, how about her, huh? The fuck?
Yeah, so the fact that it was a Seinfeld passion project that begins and ends with his screenplay, that he's a producer on it. He's not just like an executive producer, sign the name on it kind of thing. This is a full project that is guided or perhaps hindered by constant overreach by Jerome Seinfeld himself.
Although he's not directing it. DreamWorks gets some other folks to direct it, right?
Yeah, people who know how to direct animation. It's their usual stable of people, including one of the directors being a director on Prince of Egypt.
As Steve Hickner was the director on Prince of Egypt.
Steve Bickner. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And Simon J. Smith, aka Byman B. Biff.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
That's much too complicated. He was in charge of he was the head of layout on the original Shrek, and he directed Shrek 4D a couple years before this.
Yeah, and the fact that like this is coming out the same year as a lot of big release. I mean, DreamWorks across the board, not just DreamWorks Animation, is doing big stuff. It puts out Transformers, it puts out Shrek the Third. Both of these movies have the same budget as the B movie.
And they look exponentially better.
Yes. And B movie looks, even in its final state, unfinished.
Especially the human faces.
Yeah, and a lot of the scenery, too, especially in the Hive. In my understanding, is that this is because all of that money was just going into doing more and more versions because they couldn't finalize this fucking script.
Seinfeld claims that he did over 300 recording sessions and that there were, quote, over 200 versions of what B-movie ended up being.
And like we talked about this a little bit, this is in part how animation works. You know, that's why Chris Farley, even though he had, quote, 4 days left of recording, they were still revising the movie heavily. We saw this with Sweatbox and the way that movie works. But yeah, something is very, very wrong in the production of B-movie.
It reminds me of what happens when a game stays in development hell for too long.
Yeah, it's very Neil Druckmann here, it feels like.
It's also why this script is bereft of setup and payoffs.
Yeah.
There's one that I can really point to.
The
and
magazine.
It's the Pasadena thing.
Oh, okay. Two.
All right. So there's two. There's two setup and payoffs.
The magazine and the Rose Bowl, yeah.
And I guess what I mean is setup and payoff across its parts, across its three very disparate parts. Everything else feels like an episode of television that has been contained.
And not very good television because it doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end to its episodes. The episodes are like the start of an episode, and then it moves on to the start of the next episode.
The other big thing that I feel like I remember about B-movie, having not seen it until just now, of course, was the press blitz for this thing. Seinfeld showing up in Cannes and going on a zip line down from a hotel onto a barge wearing this hideous fucking bee costume, looking fucking miserable the entire time.
But he was probably into it. That's the weird thing about Seinfeld is you can never tell when he's super into something, and you just kind of have to go by the record of like, well, he did put a lot of effort into this fucking thing. So like B-movie, that Pop-Tarts thing, Miranda sings. It seems like he's doing a bit every time. It seems like there's some sort of look at how ridiculous it is that I'm doing it. But no, at some point he fell in love with this movie.
That's what's so weird. His whole persona is always so detached and ironic. So when he takes a genuine interest in something, it's like, oh, this is just more Seinfeld bullshit. And it is Seinfeld bullshit. It just turns out that Seinfeld has the strangest taste in anything that anyone has ever had.
He just really commits to a bit to the point where he convinces himself that it's a good bit, even if the bit isn't necessarily great. And I know that's ironic coming from me, but there is something about his reaction to seeing B-movie screened for the first time that really affects him in like a profoundly negative way. Like he goes to a lot of like test screenings and he's really excited about it because it's like, okay, then we can revise it. We can like, we can fix the jokes. We can punch it up.
We'll do 50 more passes at it. Yeah.
But then he sits down to watch the finalized version of it and the audience response is really tepid. And he goes, oh man, I think I fucked up. That is what it takes for him to realize that the movie that he's made is not good.
And you have to think about the fact that for the general public, you have this hugely famous, often regarded as a genius comedian with this very popular show that lasted 9 full seasons. Then nothing until 2007. Almost a decade passes from the end of Seinfeld.
I mean, the only other thing that Seinfeld, I think, was known for through that period was being at Mets games, basically.
Yeah. Like he was doing his stand-up, but he didn't have a big on-screen project like a TV show or a movie until this. And so it was kind of hotly anticipated. And I think this is also why the reviews are not great, but they're a lot more positive than they should be.
I will say there was one project he did in the interim between the end of Seinfeld and B-Movie. And we're going to get to that a little bit later because it does have something to do with B-Movie.
Well, let's go into B-Movie, shall we?
Let's talk about B-Movie.
This movie begins with a kid doing a nut shot on the DreamWorks logo.
Jerry is playing a bee, so his name is Barry.
But it's not Barry Beinfeld. And I'm like,
and it
come
should
on.
be Barry Beinfeld.
The DreamWorks logo, of course, is that child fishing off of the moon.
And for DreamWorks Animation, the child, instead of fishing, is just rides up to the moon on balloons.
The tone is set early on that it's very funny because, you know, this kid falls onto the moon.
Dies.
He fucking dies.
Barry Beinfeld bills this bid.
According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible.
Everything about this is horrible to look at. We see
really
Barry
hurts the
Beinfeld put on a sweater, gargle with honey, sharpen his stinger with a pencil sharpener. This is the part where I should note that I have seen this bit. And the reason, of course, is that, like I imagine everybody, I have also seen the B-Movie, but every time they say B, it gets 15% faster.
Yes,
And in that video, this is the only part of the movie that you're actually able to intelligibly understand by virtue of the fact that it's closest to regular speed.
Yeah, he gets to graduation and then it goes out of control. And then the sound drops out completely.
That's right. But what I will also say is that having watched the sequence previously in the meme version, the pacing as it actually exists in the movie is fucking bizarre.
It's
so slow.
It is really slow, and it's also filled with a lot of Seinfeld's fascinations, right? There's a big race car poster. There's a poster for a hexploitation film. They tell him to stop flying in the house.
I call these Flintstones jokes. I think this joke, this style of joke, probably goes back to vaudeville, but I think as far as like written sources, one of the clearest early sources of this type of joke is Thornton Wilder's Pulitzer Prize winning play, The Skin of Our Teeth, where you have the Antrobus family, which represents all of mankind all the way through its prehistory, as a suburban New Jersey family. And George Antrobus has a job where he invents new letters. And they're like, how was work today? And he's like, oh, it was great. I invented M. When you do this kind of joke right, it's charming, it's funny. The Flintstones ran for 20 years and started including space aliens. But this one is all trying to do that. So you have Barry Beinfeld going through his closet and picking out a Bwetter. And they are black and yellow. And one is like, oh, it's yellow and black, but it looks exactly the same. Like every cartoon character. We have seen this joke before. Jerry, whatever, brushes his teeth with honey, of course. His antennas are a cell phone. And he bends them into headset shape to talk to his friends.
At least clever and like an interesting idea.
But is it funny?
No.
Did you
not.
laugh?
It's not funny. And the thing about bits like this as well is that in order for it to be in any way, shape, or form funny, you really have to fine tune the nature of the visual gag.
Yeah.
That's the reason that when Flintstones works, it works. Some of these things are just kind of funny to look at. Whereas there is nothing about any of this character design or animation that is funny.
No.
And that, I think, is because in order for it to look interesting visually as an animated sequence, you would need enough time to make it look that way.
This feels like the movie is driven entirely by the screenplay.
Yes.
Whereas most animated movies are driven by the animators. They workshop the scenes, they come up with the ideas, and they're able, through their workflow, to come up with gags.
We talked about this with The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
That in many cases, that is a movie that was dying on the vine because Roger Aller's script was just way too prescriptive. And in order to save the film, they had to kind of give it over to the animators and be like, go hog wild.
And I think the biggest problem is that you can't go hog wild when you're on an 8-hour phone call every single day with Jerry Seinfeld, who's just throwing idea after idea after idea at
Well, what
you.
if he's brushing his teeth with honey?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but then honey is also the fuel for their cars. What is going on in this world?
Also, why do the bees drive cars?
They have to get to work, Josh.
No,
they gotta get comedians in cars and they gotta get coffee.
Well, and they do this whole bit where they drive their car and the roads are like a roller coaster, which is fine. It's not a joke. It's just like cartoon stuff that maybe can look kind of fun.
But it doesn't do anything
no, not
unless
really.
you make it do something.
It doesn't necessarily have to,
No,
right? If
but
you're
it's
just
got-
getting someone from point A to point B. But then he has the characters spend time commenting on the fact that their roads are like a roller coaster. Why? Who knows?
So many possible
Hey there, you are listening to a preview of a premium episode of The Worst of All Possible Worlds. If you'd like to listen to the rest of this, head on over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/worstofall. And you can listen to not only the rest of this episode, but our entire backlog of premium episodes, bonus episodes, and if you subscribe at the $10 tier, you will get an extra episode of the podcast every single month. Again, that is patreon.com/worstofall. Hope to see you there.